Businesses are feeling the weak economy. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian Heise here, and I hope you've had a great Father's Day. I certainly have, here with my stein of coffee, and I thought we'd finish the day by looking at this piece from the ABC. It's about businesses that are feeling the weak economy, and they're making cuts. It kind of lines up with everything else we've looked at over the last few days, and frankly, last couple of months. So let's have a look. In the battle between stakeholders, it appears to be customers and shareholders winning out, while employees bear the burden of low wage growth and increasingly job losses. Okay, but customers, shareholders, and employees are the same thing. So you can win as all of them really need to win. All of them really need to win. How many employees are customers of the businesses they work for, or the neighbour's business, and also have shares in them, if not directly in their super fund? The current corporate reporting season, winding up this week, has highlighted the intense financial pressure many consumer-orientated businesses are facing. Consumer-orientated, let's rephrase that as retail. Except for good old Harvey. Everybody's feeling the pressure, retail analyst Peter Ryan said. One of the country's largest employers, Perth-based conglomerate Wesfarmers, the owner of Bunnings, Target and Officeworks, more than quadrupled its full-year profit to $5.51 billion, boosted to the tune of nearly $2.3 billion from its demerger of the Coles supermarket business. That's interesting. I didn't realize they demerged their Coles supermarket business. Shareholders were handsomely rewarded with a final dividend of 78 cents per share, bringing the full payout to $2.78 from $2.23 the prior year, a 25% increase. But in the past 12 months, 80 employees were let go from its Target stores. Fellow retail giant Woolworths, also amongst the nation's biggest employers, is also pushing ahead with plans to close 30 unprofitable Big W stores, with around 1,000 jobs expected to be lost. At the same time, the supermarket's dividend rose 10% from 93 cents to $1.02, with the company's profit receiving a $1.1 billion one-off boost from the sale of its petrol stations. Well, I'm learning new things today. I didn't realize Woolworths sold its petrol stations. I'm surprised. I'm surprised they did. So business investment backseat to shareholder returns. Yes, actually, we're noticing that. Share buybacks, shareholder returns, special payments. And yet our treasurer is calling for them to invest in R&D here in Australia. The primary objective of both the leading retailers at the moment is to keep shareholder returns as high as they can to keep their share price up, Mr. Ryan said. The big issue is deflation, and in order to keep profits up, what they have to do is cut the guts out of the cost base, which generally means closing underperforming stores and reducing labour costs. The Federal Treasurer has asked corporate Australia to lift its game, to guarantee our living standards continue to rise. And living standards continue to rise? We looked at a video a couple of days ago, and I will link to it now. I'm just going to write down the time here, 3:44. I'll link to it above, showing that our living standards aren't continuing to rise. Their wages and disposable income have pretty much been stagnant for a decade. So sorry, Joshy, don't agree with you there, mate. And our children have even more opportunities in the future. We must tackle the productivity challenge, Josh Frydenberg told a business breakfast gathering earlier this week. My message today for business is to back yourself and use your balance sheet to invest and grow. Really? Now, it's interesting he's saying invest and grow. But I did a video looking at the profit drop of Stockland Group. And I will link to that one here again. I'll link to it there. I'm just looking over here because I'm opening it up. So I make sure I remember it. That's why I'm looking over on that screen. It's the advantage of having 6 screens in your setup. But they've sold, or disvested or deinvested, pretty much sold off, $500 million worth of their retail town centres. And they're planning to sell another $500 million. So does that sound like they're investing and growing in that sector. No, it doesn't. It does not. The latest figures from the Bureau of Statistics show big businesses are failing on this measure. Seasonally adjusted total new capital expenditure fell 1% last financial year. Reserve Bank Governor Philip Lowe describes this as a lack of animal spirits among businesses. What did I just read? Reserve Bank Governor Philip Lowe describes this as a lack of animal spirits among businesses. Okay, am I watching an episode of Star Trek Voyager and they're talking about animal spirit guides and stuff? Perhaps. Okay, good old, yeah. Well, I'm a bit stunned with that one. I don't expect that to be coming out of our Reserve Bank Governor. I mean, no, it's a lack of confidence. That's what it is. It's that simple. It's got nothing to do with animal spirits. They smell the writing on the wall. They smell the writing. They can see the writing on the wall. They can smell the paint in the can that's been hidden behind the wall. So, Roger Montgomery, owner of the Montgomery Fund, regularly speaks with company bosses, and he says too many big business leaders were just not convinced the Australian economy would hold up enough to make new investments, projects, or big employee pay rises worth their while. What we're finding is that where companies are investing, they're investing in their offshoots overseas. Well, didn't we see that from Jerry Harvey with Harvey Norman, their overseas revenue that was growing? Even Domino's here in Australia, Domino's Pizza, their overseas revenue was growing as well. So once you start looking at these, these earning forecasts of these companies, it all starts to come together, doesn't it? This might help the employee there, not so much locally. Well, nor will our dollar dropping, will it? I think it's a function of the economy. The economy is not going very well. No, it's not. So small businesses are facing similar challenges. Some small businesses, however, are leading the way. Gavin Booth farms black truffles, often touted as one of the most expensive ingredients in the world. On his farm in southwest Western Australia, each worker has a very unique and important role in bringing the truffles from the ground to the market. We have a person with a dog that goes out to find it. We have a person that comes along to dig it up. We have a person that comes to wash it by hand, he said. Gavin Booth gave all his employees a pay rise last month and said he's always trying to figure out ways to squeeze as much as he can out of his business, or what economists might call boosting productivity. It's a truffle farm. It's a truffle farm. This isn't a major business. He's mentioned 3 people there. This is a luxury product. I mean, good on him for getting some exposure and, for proudly saying how he's supporting his workers. Gavin, good work, mate. But it's truffle farm. Okay? Bloody hell. I mean, come on. We get smarter about how we do things. He said, yeah, but what's your profit margin, mate? What's your competition? Seriously. I mean, come on. It's truffle farm. So we go in by hand and plant more acres. So when we go in and we do one pass, we try to do a better job and not do a half a job. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, it's a truffle farm. What's the truffle industry in Australia? How big is it? Maybe I'm completely off the mark, but I've never eaten a truffle in my life. Okay? So it's architecture, guys. It's not the fantasy that everyone thinks. There's a reason why I can't afford newspaper subscriptions. That's monthly recurring expense. You can't do that. You're kidding. Watch my video about preparing for the recession. Get rid of every monthly expense. Every single one you can. So, however, small businesses are facing big challenges. Mr. Booth worries about his offshore competition and how he will be able to maintain his profits if they decide to compete on costs. Don't worry, mate. The dollar is at 67 cents. Just wait till it drops a bit more, then you'll be more competitive. It's that simple. He's happy to keep offering pay rises and to find better, smarter ways of growing truffles, but as soon as his offshore competition decides to take more market share by dropping prices, he said he would be forced to do the same, and that means pay cuts and job losses. Yes, or you could just improve your efficiencies with the same resources you have, then it wouldn't mean pay cuts or job losses. Chile has a workforce that is on a quarter of the salary that mine is, he told PM. Well, yeah, there you go. And I wonder what their quality of life is in Chile compared to Australia's. It's just the arithmetic and the reality of the situation. The math is looking like it will only get even trickier for businesses big and small in Australia. So, I don't know why they focused on the truffle business. And, they're talking about wage growth being slow here with manufacturing. I mean, okay, this is a very niche business, but I guess it's showing the competition or the differences between Australia. So what we'll do is, why don't we have a look? We will look at, once I'll bring this up, we'll look at Chile. Okay, we will look at Chile. So hang on, the observatory. Observatory of Economic Complexity, and I'll just do a cube zoom there. Okay, and we'll go countries. Let's just have a little look at, not Colombia, just randomly picks one. We will look at Chile. There we go. Boy, my NBN is going fast, isn't it? Oh, there we go, finally. So here we go. Their economic complexity, and what we'll do is I will go back here and we will look at Australia and we will compare the two countries mentioned in this article. So Australia, our economic complexity is 59th, 0.09. Chile, 61st, 0.04. Their exports are 70.1 billion, 42nd out of 221. Our exports are 243 billion, 20th out of 221. Their imports are 62.7 billion. Ours are 199 billion. Their GDP per capita is 24,600. Ours is 48,500. Let's have a look what we're exporting. Iron ore, coal, petroleum gas, gold. What's Chile? Copper, iron ore, refined copper, grapes, fish fillets, wine. So, we are both, I'd say, we've probably got more dependence on mineral products than Chile has. But then again, they've got metal products, which are higher than ours. Our metal products, we're 13.1 billion. Chile's are 18.9 billion. So their metals, their export value is higher than ours. Their minerals are 19.5 billion. Our minerals are 131 billion. So that's interesting. Their metal sector is worth more than ours. What about their agriculture? Because that's what we're comparing here. Which one's this? Animal and vegetable byproducts. We'll go here. Animal products, animal hides. Foodstuffs is 4.58 billion. Australian foodstuffs is 7.71 billion. And what are we importing? Let's compare. Well, that looks pretty similar, doesn't it? Broadcasting equipment, cars, refined petroleum. Broadcasting equipment, cars, refined petroleum. And what else? Our trade balance. Okay, we're doing okay. They're the same. Although they've had a consistent trade surplus right until back there. Well, we've been a bit over the place recently. And our destinations. Who are we trading with? Which economies? So China is our biggest one. Chile, China, 27%. Then United States. United States 3.5. Our second one is Japan. It's funny how Japan isn't mentioned in those articles we were reading the other day. So, and the origins of Chile is 25%. Then United States, Brazil. Our origins, China, South Korea, Japan. So I thought that's quite interesting. If you compare the two countries, Chile and Australia. So guys, do you think the truffle business in Australia is a threat? It's an odd business, I'd say, to talk to, really. I mean, it's not really a business I would think of Australia having a competition, particularly with how labour intensive it is. And fundamentally, the issue there is that our labour costs are so much higher than other countries. Well, maybe that's an issue that needs to be addressed. We need to be smart with how we can deal with that. Because otherwise, poor Gavin is going to have some competition. So guys, thanks for joining me for this episode. I hope you've had a good Father's Day today. Either the dads, or the children of dads, or the wives of dads. Take care of them. We need it. We need the attention. I hope you all got lots of ties, socks, and underwear. And I'll see you all next time. Take care, everyone.